So, today we're going to dive deep into the claims from a really popular online video. This video totally deconstructs the official story around Jeffrey Epstein's death. It makes a case that not only did he not die by suicide, but that he might not have died at all. Now, we all pretty much know the official narrative, right? But the video that we're looking at today kicks things off with this very provocative question, really setting the stage for a deep dive into all the little details that it says just don't add up. Okay, let's get into it. The core idea, the central claim of this video, is that Epstein did not take his own life. And it actually tries to prove he's still alive by presenting what it calls a case file with a whole series of exhibits. So we're going to walk through that case file, exhibit by exhibit. So the case file opens with Exhibit A. This is all about what was happening inside the correctional center on the night of Epstein's death, or his reported death. The video starts by zeroing in on the two guards who were on duty that night, Tovenel and Michael Thomas. And it just lays out this string of alleged failures. We're talking about forged logbooks, shopping online for things like furniture and motorcycles, and get this, taking 2-hour naps at the same time. And they were supposedly just 15 feet away from Epstein's cell the whole time. The video also claims that someone reported shouting from his cell, and it was just ignored. And here, the source really highlights this huge gap between what you'd expect and what was actually happening. You know, for an inmate this high profile, you'd think there'd be elite professionals, maximum security, the whole 9 yards. But according to the video, the reality was an inexperienced trainee and a temporary guard who wasn't even a full Bureau of Prisons employee. And in the end, both of them were acquitted on all charges. So here's the official line. It's pretty straightforward. Epstein hanged himself using a strip of bedsheet that he tied to his bunk bed. This is the baseline, the official story that the video sets out to dismantle. But right away, the source hits you with a pretty logical question, based on photos of what was in his cell. It asks, why would Epstein, a guy who supposedly told his lawyers he was a total coward and terrified of pain, choose a method that's so uncertain? And the video points directly to this, a sleep apnea machine, which it claims was right there in his cell. I mean, think about it. This thing has feet of thick plastic tubing and a long, strong power cord. The video argues that this would have been a way more effective, way more guaranteed method than a flimsy strip of bedsheet. And it just keeps going. The source then rattles off a bunch of other weird things from the cell block. It claims that the security cameras just magically stopped working, that Epstein made an unmonitored phone call to his mom, who, by the way, had been dead for 15 years, and apparently that facility had a known problem with drones just delivering contraband to inmates. The whole thing sounds wild. Okay, so all of that leads us right into the source's second main argument, which focuses on the photos taken after Epstein was removed from his cell. Welcome to Exhibit B, Signs of a Cover-Up. Now, this is where things get really granular, almost like a CSI episode. The video presents a side-by-side comparison of the ear of the body in the gurney photo with known photos of Jeffrey Epstein. And the source claims it's a total mismatch, that the earlobe attachment is different, the cartilage shape is different, and it concludes that this just cannot be Epstein's body. So, if it's not Epstein, who is it? Well, this is where the source offers a pretty speculative theory. It suggests the body could belong to Tony Rodham, Hillary Clinton's brother. He had passed away just a few weeks earlier and, as the video claims, looked uncannily similar to Epstein. Okay, stick with me here, because the source then tries to weave together this really complex web of connections. It alleges the gurney photo was taken for the New York Post, which is owned by Rupert Murdoch. It then links Murdoch to a company called Metgate Media, which just so happens to be the company that owned the copyright to that infamous and allegedly staged photo of Ghislaine Maxwell at an In-N-Out burger. But all of that is about how he might have faked his death. In Exhibit C, the argument takes a huge turn. This is where the source presents what it claims is direct evidence that Jeffrey Epstein is actually still alive. And the single biggest piece of evidence, according to this source, boils down to one single number: $15.5 million. The video claims that this exact amount was wired from Epstein's estate after his death into a secret account that only he could access.
And this claim is the whole basis for speculating on where he could be. Maybe hiding out in Israel, living on one of his own properties that was repurchased by some anonymous buyer, or maybe even being that figure people spotted in drone footage on his private island.
And for the final piece of this whole puzzle, Exhibit D. The source zooms out. It tries to establish a pattern by looking at a number of people connected to the Epstein investigation who have died since he did.
In this last exhibit, the video just lays out this string of deaths. First up is Jean-Luc Brunel, Epstein's French modeling agent. He was found hanging in his cell, and the source calls the circumstances darn near identical to Epstein's.
Next on the list is Mark Middleton, a former assistant to Bill Clinton who reportedly was the one who admitted Epstein to the White House on multiple occasions. Then there's Thomas Bowers. He was a former executive at Deutsche Bank, and his division managed Epstein's accounts. And finally, Stephen Hoffenberger. He's described as Epstein's financial mentor, and he was reportedly getting ready to testify against him right before he was found dead. So by putting all these cases back to back, the video leaves you with this one very implicit and honestly pretty unsettling question. Are these all just tragic coincidences? Or are we looking at something much more coordinated?
The video we've been breaking down, well, it doesn't leave much room for doubt on where it stands. It ends with this one final, really provocative conclusion. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's just a conspiracy.